Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's dig into the meat of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. This is a movie that, honestly, to me, I was looking forward to it, but not so much after Force Awakens. The more I watch Force Awakens, the more I wish. I thought I didn't really raise the bar, but Rogue One did, and I was really hoping this movie would live up to that, which I can definitely say it did to a certain extent. No, it definitely did. It took a lot of what the Rogue One, I think, really inspired Star Wars to aim for. And I'm going to dig into what that means in a moment. Yeah, because my more anticipated movies this summer were, well, I'll say 2017 were more Justice League and Wonder Woman and even Blade Runner. All of those which I've seen and I've enjoyed to various degrees. So Star Wars to me, I really had put in the back burner. But then finally seeing it, I was pleasantly surprised. Uh, and one thing I will say right now, right at the top, you got to give this movie credit for one thing, doing what Rogue One did, and I think all Star Wars movies have always tried to do this to an extent, but only Rogue One really pushed it to the limit, and to an extent, Revenge of the Sith, and that is taking real world political and societal problems and applying them to a science fiction setting. And that's something a lot of sci-fi movies usually do. That's why I usually end up enjoying them so much. Star Wars was definitely more on the fantasy side of the sci-fi spectrum. And some movies, it just really felt like it just boiled down to good versus evil, and that's it. Although some movies, like Return of the Jedi, made it seem a little more complicated. The whole idea of conflict within people, and that's awesome. But it's always been left kind of vague. But what I liked about Rogue One was the fact that you saw, it's not always so black and white. You saw the rebels. Sometimes they end up hurting people or outright killing people trying to accomplish their mission, even though they are the side of good. So it's not always so plain black and white. Yes, there are people that need to be stopped, but if we keep doing certain things, are we really any different from them? And Rogue One definitely was trying to point that out, and that's obviously an allusion to, well, U.S. foreign policy. I mean, let's face it, you can only do so many bombings wondering what it is we're accomplishing. But once again, that's a whole other topic. The whole idea of, well, really, no, we'll dig into that really in this because I think they were taking notes off Rogue One and applied it to The Last Jedi because The Last Jedi has a lot of moral ambiguity. There are many moments where I think it may be for the first time ever in a Star Wars movie. I honestly think so. I think they're actually acknowledging the cost of a battle. Star Wars is one of those franchises, and I'm not going to critique just Star Wars, because I think a lot of Hollywood does this where, death usually doesn't mean too much unless you're a main character. They kind of just brush over it. And that's true for a lot of things. And I think the first time we see audience starting to really give a shit about that whole concept has been with superhero movies. I think that's when they really started caring, because then we got to the whole deal of heroes accidentally killing people or deliberately killing them in the case of, Daredevil a few years back when that movie came out, and Batman and Batman vs Superman, and Superman supposedly accidentally killing people in Man of Steel. It's become this whole big thing, and now, movies will go out of their way to mention no one's going to get hurt during this scene, or people do, they make a big deal of it. Which to me, it is fine. If you want movies to be more realistic, then yes, you shouldn't take away the gravity of someone getting killed, especially in a war or disaster-like scenario, because, let's face it, in real life, these situations would be terrifying. Superpowered beings fighting in a city, a war between planet-destroying weapons. Yeah, that would be pretty terrifying, and lots of people dying. It's a hell of a tragedy. And just before we even continue right here, I'm going to say spoilers. Spoilers up the ass, tons of them. Spoilers. Don't go any further if you're worried about spoilers. They haven't seen it yet. This is for people who have seen the movie. So let's just start with the opening of the movie. I think the opening movie sums this up perfectly. Once again, going into my expectations, they started out with the epic space battle that I think, because I think one of my favorite space battles really, well, Rogue One and Episode 3 are tied, but this is a pretty damn good one. and there's a lot of great action scenes, and the whole dreadnought giant cannon thing, Bob. It's pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. But the whole underlying point of that scene was to show the cost of war can sometimes be very high. And as the movie's trying to point out, there can be really no heroes or just people who end up getting killed. And we see one of the bombers sacrifice herself just to get the mission done. It's a success, but how much of a success is it really? Well, as you can see by the end of the movie, not too much of one, perhaps. I mean, they gave up a lot to ultimately still lose, but the fight will continue, which is the great thing about it. I'll talk about that right now. That's one of the great things about this movie, the fact that Poe Dameron, I think, got a lot of development here. And we got, once again, just like Rogue One, a more realistic sense of military command structures. Because, usually you see the hot shot guy who's really badass at what he does. He just takes command of the situation. He breaks the rules. And you could tell Poe Dameron, he was definitely used to that type of setting, and that's what I thought they're initially going to do with the character. Who he can just does whatever he wants. He's badass. They won't even question it later. But no, the movie actually took him down a notch. Both Carrie Fisher and Laura Dern both really made him realize that, yes, there is a cost to victory, and sometimes, like I said, my movie, although it was a little over, it was a little, I want to say a little too on the nose, but sometimes you can't blow up, a problem and that's it. No, sometimes it's a little more complicated. It's not so easy. So I like that development from Poe Dameron. Oscar Isaac did a fantastic job, and I'm really looking forward to see more of his character. I thought he did freaking great. Yeah, so moving on from the opening scene, which I thought was fantastic in so many ways, I guess we can delve into. I guess we'll delve with to John Boyega and I believe her name is it Kelly? Kelly, yeah, Kelly Tran. That whole aspect of it, because I think that pretty much sums up how I feel about that aspect of the movie with Poe Dameron. Everything with Poe Dameron, Laura Dern's character, the new commander who gets put in place after Carrie Fisher is out of commission for a little while in the movie. I thought that whole thing was handled excellently. I thought I wasn't going to like Laura Dern's character, but she was actually pretty freaking awesome. And it just showed, sometimes the price of being the so-called hero and being in command. It's no joke. But so moving on from that, let's talk about John Boyega and Kelly Tran's, that whole storyline. And I know some people were angry, felt like it was a whole waste of time since it went to, well, you could say basically achieved, you could say little to nothing. But, that's one movie criticism I do not understand these days. People say, oh, that was basically all a waste of time then. I'm just like, I don't get it. For some reason, and I keep seeing this in many movies, for some reason, if there's a big plan that people make and the plan doesn't go according to plan, or maybe it gets entirely subverted, all of a sudden moviegoers get pissed, well, that was just a waste of time. Like, I don't know. I think real life has those moments, right, where you make a plan and you're trying to get something done and all of a sudden it just does not go your fucking way. And you get pissed, and it may be that hell of a bottom point for you. But the point of the matter is, these things happen. So I don't mind the fact that their plan ultimately failed, as Trump would say, bigly. But I think that was fantastic, and they really got their asses handed to them this time. But that's what made the end of this movie so important for me. 'Cause now it makes you wonder how they're going to bounce back from this. So once again, John Boyega and Kelly Tran. Now that's one thing I'm wondering though. I'm wondering where are they going with this? Is this another romance? They're trying to build a love triangle here, or what's going on? I'm not too sure about that. Luckily, it didn't. It was going fine until all of a sudden, the kiss on that planet. I'm like, whoa, 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 what's? I don't know. It's. But we have to see where it's going to go with, and I guess in episode 9, because episode 7, they of course are hitting over the head. These two are probably going to get together, but this one, because they never really met up to the very end, they kind of avoided that. Except now, just a little more complicated with this Kelly Tran thing. So, who knows with that one? I'm really going to stay away from that. I don't know. All I will say is that the relationship is still more natural than Anakin and Padme in the prequels. Let's just face it. That's some of the worst aspects of the prequels is Anakin and Padme relationship. The dialogue, the stiffness which it was delivered, cringy. And I like the prequels to certain degrees, episode 3 being my favorite of them, of course. But that part is just unforgivable. The dialogue between them is just atrocious. And I talked just another of our favorite scenes I liked, and another aspect of the movie I liked in general was the whole casino planet. And forgive me, I've only seen it one time, so no, I don't remember the name of all the planets yet. I mean, not quite yet. I will definitely be seeing it again, obviously, since I enjoyed it. So then I'll get to memorizing all the planets names. But if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. When they go to the casino planet to get the code breaker, basically Benicio del Toro, who in initial presses we were told was going to be a quote-unquote good guy. So that's more or less what I was expecting, but once again, they subverted my expectations. And that was another important point we was making, once again, but the moral complexity of real life, when they noted the whole war profiteering and how it works. Well, yes, people who profit from war sell to both sides. That was an excellent moment. Once again, ties to reality. This is both historical fact, and it happens in the modern day right now. You know, arms dealing is a you could argue whether or not, whether we should be in a country or whether bombs need to be dropped on somewhere. But the fact of the matter is, if you're going to be selling weapons, death follows. And usually, as history shows, most people, including the U.S., have sold to both sides if the opportunity arises and they think you get away with it. These are War II facts, and from many other wars. So I like how they brought that up. I thought it was another interesting theme. And of course, I think Benicio del Toro pretty much encapsulates that whole duality and complexity of life. This is a character who realizes that it doesn't matter, and perhaps he sees it all as a game, really, that, separatist and republic, empire, rebels, pseudo empire with the wow, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name right now. Wow, it actually just slipped my mind right now what Kylo Ren's forces are called. I can't really just slip my mind, but any case, and the resistance, the pseudo rebels, it's basically just a pattern that's just going in a loop. And I love how they put him. I loved his role. I really hope he comes back for episode 9. I'm pretty sure he will, because Benicio freaking del Toro. And so yeah, I love that whole aspect of it. My only critique of that whole scene is maybe the animals charging through the casino could have been trimmed down just a wee bit, because I felt like it just kept going on forever and ever. And when I say the whole thing getting trimmed down, I only really mean just the specific shot of the animals crashing through the freaking walls and buildings and all this shit. It just kept on going and going and going. I'm just like, when is this going to end? I get it. They're running loose and just destroying everything. But the animals did look cool, though, so for that, I'll give them points for that. Oh, and the Force Order, I just had to Google that real quick, because, yeah, I just felt like, how could I forget something that integral to the plot? The name of the bad guys. But like I said, I just call them the pseudo-empire, because that was my critique of episode 7, that they are basically almost the same thing as what was presented in episode 4 through 6, Empire and Rebellion. But moving on from that, I guess I should comment a little bit about the actors themselves. I think Kelly Tran did a great job. I think she's a pretty good inclusion to the story. The only part I'm concerned about is I don't really want a romance between and Finn and her character. I mean, let's face it. I know Star Wars is one of those franchises we feel if you're gonna have a movie, you need to hit all the marks. Need a little bit of comedy, which is why they always shove some kind of comedic character in there, or maybe perhaps a cutesy one, or really just a whole other section. You need a cutesy character. You need action. You need a brooding villain, and you need some epic shots of big shit happening, and then you have a complete full movie. So they also need to throw some kind of romance in there, which is, let's face it, the only real reason why Finn and Rey were kind of tossed together in the first one. But I could kind of let it go if they let it grow in this one. They didn't really grow in this one. and now all of a sudden this Kelly Trans character is here. So I really don't think the story would benefit from being a love story, or God forbid, a love triangle. So I really hope that's not where they're going with this, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see in 2020. Now, with that said, John Boyega's character, I have friends, who say the character, I don't like him, kind of comes off as a coward sometimes. And you know what? That is true. That is true. But you know what? I actually like that. I actually like that aspect of him because, not every male character in here can be the guy who, basically is a Poe Dameron or, Captain Solo type, who's always going to be the first one to shoot or, just always gun-ho. The fact that he, sometimes he sneaks around to get stuff done and maybe can be a little selfish makes him just a little more human, if you ask me. So I think he did a great job with the character. The only problem, I think, is some of the lines. And really, for Star Wars as a whole, some of the lines can be a little cheesy at times. And, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because, the franchise as a whole, from just beginning to end, it has played with cheesy lines here and there. And some of them just do not land the way you want them to. Some parts could have easily been cut. But, they're there. Probably the one I hate the most, Rey talking to Kylo Ren shirtless, and she has to comment on it. For Christ's sake, this is the guy who killed Han Solo. There's no time for bullshit. But that should have been left on the cutting floor. Retarded, just fucking stupid. But nevertheless, like I said, it's not a big complaint. That if anything, that'd be why I'd be marking it down to a 9 out of 10 because of a little bullshit like that I don't like. But before I forget, before moving on to the real nitty-gritty stuff that's between Rey and Luke, and of course, Kylo and Snoke, one last thing I wanted to talk about would be Captain freaking Phasma. Captain freaking Phasma. Oh my god. What the hell? Shit. She was a character that was really hyped up in the Force Awakens promotions. Turned out, doesn't really do much. Supposedly died in a trash compactor. What a joke. Then, of course, as we all know, companies obviously do look at reviews. They probably heard about angry fans getting pissed about how the character was treated, so they brought her back. I thought, okay, she could probably make it a trash compactor. Luke and them did. Why not her? And I thought it was going well. They had some good fight scenes, some good dialogue, only to kill her again. And this time, I'm pretty sure it's for sure. I fell into a pit of fire. There's no fucking way coming back from that one. So, overall, not disappointing. Not disappointing at all, really. At least not in the execution of the fights and whatnot. I just don't know why they felt the need to kill her off. Especially since in this movie we lose Snoke too. So, shit, no reason to cut your roster of bad guys in half, quite literally. Because now we just have Kylo and Hux, pretty much, and that's it. Benicio del Toro, if you want to include him, but I really wouldn't. It'd just be Hux and Kylo. So, like I said, I don't know why they bothered killing her off that fast, but don't want to give him too much shit for it, because once again, this is a franchise that is notorious for doing that when you think about it. Think of Boba Fett. The guy, if you want to include the reshoots, he was more or less in all 3 of the original movies. That's, again, including the reshoots anyways. Didn't really do too much in the first and last one. The second one, he basically just captured. He's one of those characters that has a lot of, you know, I'm not taking crap on Boba Fett fans. I'm just saying, as far as movies go, he didn't do all that much. He just captured Han Solo. That was pretty much it. And then he got a fairly humiliating death in this Return of the Jedi. And I thought that was something that was a little better handled in at least episode 2 and 3. Darth Maul definitely got the Phasma treatment. Definitely. But at least he had a cool fight scene before he got killed. And then episode 2 and 3, they experiment, with Jango Fett, who I thought was awesome. Attack of the Clones, one of the best aspects of it. I liked Count Dooku a lot, because of course he met his untimely demise, and I loved General Grievous. And I just feel like Captain Phasma didn't really have her moment to shine. I really don't think she did. It's disappointing, very disappointing, to see her go so fast. So once again, I mean, overall, what can I say? It's a small part of the movie. Literally, it's mostly that I guess you could say I wish she would have been longer lived. So yeah, very disappointed that aspect of it. In any case, let's move on to, I think, really the real meat of why everyone's so freaking pissed. At least why a lot of people would. I know there's a lot of reasons why people have been talking shit in the movie, but probably one of the biggest is the treatment of Luke in this story, along with the whole now the dark side aspect of it, you could say, the treatment of Snoke. The two old dudes and how they were treated. Okay, so first things first, I didn't really have a problem with Luke being the way he was in the movie. I really did not. Especially since there are rumors going around forever that Luke was going to turn evil. And I thought to myself, I mean, that doesn't seem that plausible, but maybe if he had a horrific enough loss, he could possibly go evil. Possibly. But I still didn't really feel it. But I felt they reached a nice middle ground where, he simply just doesn't want to do this anymore because, once again, like Benicio del Toro's character, he kind of sees it as an endless squabble, I should say. I don't know if squabble is a real word, but squabble. Endless scenes, so it's going to keep going and going and going. I loved how he referenced the Jedi hubris from the prequels, and to me, it all made a lot of sense. And once again, showing that, yes, not everyone is pure good or pure evil. The fact that he initially lied to Rey about what happened with Kylo, to me, I thought that was a good moment. Once again, it can't be a world of just pure good, pure evil. Having characters who are a little in between, makes it all the better. So I like to do it, Luke. Now, do I wish he had a better send-off as in actually fighting Kylo to the death? Yeah, yes and no. I mean, the fact that it was all an illusion, more or less, is kind of what made the epic. It made the moment kind of epic. I mean, just the reveal alone, the reveal of that was pretty cool. Not to mention, it made sense plot-wise because we saw that his ship was wrecked. It didn't look like any other ship on the whole planet to get there. Not to mention just finding out where they are in general. All this stuff basically saw the fact that he wasn't really there at all. So it was both clever. I know some people are disappointed by the fact he wasn't physically there, but I mean, to put it simply, I didn't feel any less. I didn't feel like it took away from the moment any less than, say, when Darth Vader ended his fight with Obi-Wan by simply Obi-Wan vanishing. That's obviously what they were going for. I mean, once again, not super original, but they did put a twist on it, which I enjoyed. Not every fight has to be a literal fight to, someone getting maimed, because we already had a healthy heaping of action in this one, more than enough. So I think Luke was handled well. That's my opinion. As for Rey, okay, here goes some big ones. Now, as far as Rey developing as a character, they didn't really develop her character all that much, honestly. The only difference is now is that she's more willing to do what needs to be done as opposed to being really fucking hesitant in the last one. Hold on. Damn solicitors calling. Damn solicitors. But I don't think you could really hear in the video that much, but I just really just wanted to check and see who it was, and the solicitor was really even worth waiting to see who it was. But in any case, back to it. Yeah, Rey, I don't think Rey, she developed, but not really too much that's noteworthy. But she did have an interesting storyline, though. The whole from hating Kylo to trying to save him, which was basically, of course, once again, a callback to Return of the Jedi. That whole dynamic between her, Kylo, and Snoke was obvious callback to Return of the Jedi. But once again, they subverted our expectations by having, well, Kylo say, fuck this, I'm taking control, which I thought was an awesome moment because that's exactly what Anakin had wanted to do, remember? He wanted to take out Palpatine, and people have made, there have been games and all this stuff about it, about what if Anakin took control actually killed Sidious. Always an interesting idea, just fantasy now, we can actually kind of see it played out on this big screen. And now, of course, Rey is not going to do the Luke thing. I don't think she's going to try and save him anymore after his betrayal. I mean, now he's betrayed them, and he's killed a lot of people. Han Solo, of course, too, but he's also killed plenty of others. So I don't think he's redeemable at this point. And then we go to Kylo. I think Kylo had excellent development. I think people like Kylo and Benicio del Toro really stole the movie for me, along with Laura Dern's character, and of course Carrie Fisher. May she rest in peace. Rest in peace. I think they were the highlight of the movie for me, along with Oscar Isaac too. I think they kind of outshined people like John Boyega and Daisy Ridley just a little bit, but I'm hoping they get some really fantastic character development later on. Although I will say this real quick. John Boyega's character Finn's attempt to sacrifice himself for the greater good was really unexpected. I thought they were really going to go through with it for a second, but they ended up not doing it. Kind of, I mean, it's a good moment. Don't get me wrong. It's a really good moment. But one thing I definitely was questioning was, I mean, hey, you're doing it to save one life. If you sacrifice your life, I mean, the net loss is still one soldier. So, I don't know. But moving on from that, then we get to one of my bigger complaints, Snoke. This is the reason why I knocked the whole fucking star off. Because this did piss me off. Because what I liked was, I thought we were going to see just a lot of Snoke and hologram again. But no, we actually get to see him. And first off, the makeup, obviously there's a bit of CGI. There has to be. But he looked great. You know, disgusting, but disgustingly great. He looked just revolting. And he had some great moments that are obviously Emperor inspired. But the problem was, and once again, when he got killed, I thought it was a good moment. However, I was like, well, now hold on. Who the fuck was he? And I mean, a lot more than whatever they may have done with Luke or anyone else's thing. That's what really set me off. Like, whoa. We don't know who he is yet. This is a big fucking deal. And others were saying, oh, he's not a Sith at all. Maybe he's just a guy who, maybe he's just a scholar who read the text on Sith or something. No, this guy's Sith. He knew Force lightning and all that shit. The Force. It's just that we were denied the information of who he was, who the hell he came from. So scrap all your fucking theories, or I don't know. We actually no. Don't throw them away. Dust them off because the answer didn't come. So for all we know, it could be Jar Jar Binks. It could be Mace Windu. As stupid as those theories may be, the filmmakers did not want to give us the answer for whatever reason. I mean, the movie is more than long enough to have answered that fucking simple question of who he was. More than long enough. I mean, okay, well, I hate to say this, but once again, if you, I don't know, if you were worried about runtime, then cut down that shit in a Casino Planet. Cut it, trim it the fuck down, because we get the message right there, but people still want to know who Snoke was. And I will say this: if they completely ignore him, Episode 9, I'm gonna be furious. Once again, though, that's just me being a fanboy. What is me, a fanboy, being furious that Disney really accomplished? Not much. I cannot say I'm not gonna buy the ticket, but we all know that's not true. That sucks. That's consumerism, though. I mean, I want to see the freaking movie. Uh, but I will say this, though: I will definitely feel neglected as a fan. If Disney, you're listening, I will feel neglected if you don't tell me who the fuck Snoke is. I just want to know, okay? I just want to know. Okay, and I think one of the, well, second to last big things I'm going to talk about, probably another issue people have with the movie, Rey's parents. Well, we finally found out who they were. That was another thing that was getting speculated. You know, I was always shooting for Han Solo's kid, maybe Luke, but I was missing for Han Solo's kid. Although, now I think about that in hindsight, Han Solo probably would have been a little more affectionate if that was actually his daughter. I mean, he did die trying to save Kylo, so why not his daughter? But in any case, maybe Luke second place or first place, really. But no, they turned out to be scum who just abandoned her. And I thought that was awesome. I didn't really care that much because, I mean, to me, I thought another theme of the movie was the fact that anybody can join in on the fight, you know, and you don't have to be the descendant of a strong bloodline to be able to do it. You know, people were saying this whole thing about her possibly being, you know, descendant of Kenobi or some shit. I was just like, but when? Why? It makes no sense for that to have possibly been the case. And I would feel really annoyed if they went back in Episode 9 and try and retcon this by saying, oh, he was actually lying. You are the father of Luke, or you are the father of Obi-Wan, daughter, excuse me, daughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi or some other character from the past. First off, it's not going to make fucking sense. Secondly, just why go back on your own shit? I mean, the thing that really sold the thing for me was the fact that it was Kylo telling her to try and sway her to his side. So maybe it's a lie, maybe it's not. But the point of the matter is, he was really trying his hardest to get her on his side by basically fucking emotionally destroying her, but it didn't work. But I mean, for that alone, like I said, I don't mind it. I think it was a interesting little way to subvert the fans once again. Although I'm pretty sure many people were ripping their fucking hair out. And I guess the last thing I will comment on before wrapping this whole dissection up, the fucking porgs. God damn it. God fucking damn it. I don't fucking like them. The moment I saw them, like, okay, here we go. It's a goddamn marketing ploy. As I don't know if people here watch Dragon Ball Super review episodes with Moscow X, but he has this thing every time they're talking about Dragon Ball Super, why do certain things happen in the plot, and he goes, marketing, and it's very true. I mean, let's face it, and this is nothing new. You know, I'm not dissing Star Wars for that. I'm saying, you know, many franchises do this. You know, you want to sell more toys or backpacks or whatever the fuck it is, give the character a new fucking suit, weapon, new form, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But Star Wars has a history of making annoying fucking characters who try and sell shit to people. The first time we got this, I could argue, would be the fucking Ewoks. To me, Return of the Jedi would be a perfect movie if you didn't fucking have them. But I can't change history. They're there. Episode 1 didn't seem to learn from that lesson and fucking put Jar Jar Binks, one of the most hated characters of all time. God damn it. So, of course, Episode 2, his screen time was cut severely, and by Episode 3, he didn't have any fucking lines because he would not fit in the story. I was glad to see that return. I mean, Force Awakens, we kind of avoided that. We really did. And in episode 8, they decided to bring the concept back with the porgs. Now, once again, I'm not going to try and be too much of a fanboy and just start nitpicking this shit to death. But, I mean, I'm just glad they reached a middle ground with this. You know, it wasn't as bad as Jar Jar and the Ewoks because of the fact that, first of all, the porg didn't have, like, a super big thing in the plot. You know, like Ewoks beating stormtroopers in battles, pretty fucking hysterical. And Jar Jar Binks will more or less basically creating the Empire. Once again, wow, that's who you had in mind. Okay, so the Porgs didn't have that much influence on the plot. In fact, they didn't have any influence at all. But I mean, when it's in your face and you know why it's in your face, it does strike a nerve. Like, get this little fucking creature out of get it out of here. Get it the fuck away from me. I don't fucking like him. But once again, this is a little big thing, I should say, because I will say this: Episode 9, I do not want to see that Porg as a future character who sticks around. Please, please, fucking don't. I was kind of annoyed that it was there for the final battle on the ship. Don't do it. Don't you fucking do it. Don't you do it. God damn it. And you know, wrapping this all up, I think the movie was rather good. Like I said, the lowest I'd go with this one is an 8 out of 10. My biggest complaints, I guess you would say, underutilized characters, namely Phasma, Snoke, and well, basically them two. Snoke, of course, being the bigger one, and some people might even lump Luke in there, but I mean, let's face it, if we had the CGI old man jumping around, it would probably get ridiculed. You know, some people like their battles in the prequels. Some people ridicule them for having too much CGI and being way too showy, which is why Force Awakens we had more of a simple fight, no one really jumping around. So, I mean, they've gone back to simpler lightsaber dueling, which is fine. So, I think they reached a middle ground that should appease fans just fine, but some people will never be satisfied. So, I mean, overall, like I said, my main complaints, some of the corny jokes, Snoke, Phasma, those are the big ones, you know, the biggest problems I have among smaller ones like the fucking Porgs. That, and I feel like this score still didn't, you know, outshine Episode 3 score. Still my favorite John Williams score. But it was still a pretty good score, though. Don't get me wrong. So overall, I definitely would say go see the movie again. I'll be seeing it again. Uh, I do think it's one of the better Star Wars movies. A lot better than Force Awakens. Miles ahead of the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. And to me, if you want to be honest, I mean, well, Return of the Jedi I can't really put on top of it just because of Drusso's influence in Return of the Jedi. But at least they didn't make Return of the Jedi a mistake with fucking Ewoks. So overall, my review is very favorable. Tell me what you thought of all these aspects of the movie. Did you like Rey's parents? Did you? Well, no one likes what they did to Snow. Let's be honest here. What about Phasma? Tell me what you thought. What do you think of those fucking porgs? How do you think they handled Luke? Just let me know in the comments so we can have a civil debate about these things, or just a conversation. I mean, let's face it. I don't want to sit there and debate people all day about these things. I want to see the next movie that's coming out, both Star Wars and non-Star Wars related. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, and I bid you adieu.